My senior year of high school, my English teacher kicked me out because she said, and I quote, "I have nothing to teach you." I mean, I sat down and read books that were at my level of reading comprehension, but like, it was kind of boring having to. Well, the first few times were fun because you get to skip class, but when it happens, well, it happened throughout the year. I would only show up to class for exams, and then leave. Hmm. Mm. Okay, so we're live. Well, we're live. We're on starting soon. Tweets have been sent out. I would if it wasn't bugging on me right now. What is going on? Loop. There we go.
You have been cordially invited to a world of wonder and intrigue, of steam and invention, of magic and mysteries, where nobles wave playbills at scientists who deep in thought nearly trip over pixies delivering news to tinkerers beneath the stage of New Europa. Sit back and enjoy the scene as the actors act, the singers sing, and the players play out the adventures of Castle Falkenstien. You have been cordially invited to a world of wonder and intrigue, of steam and invention, of magic and mysteries, where nobles wave playbills at scientists who deep in thought nearly trip over pixies delivering news to tinkerers beneath the stage of New Europa. Sit back and enjoy the scene as the actors act, the singers sing, and the players play out the adventures of Castle Falkenstien.
Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome to our first session of Castle Falkenstein. I am Simon, Wandering DM. This is my channel. Welcome, one and all. Let's just go around the table, introduce ourselves real quick. Who are we playing? And then I'll leave the mic to our gracious host, Chris, who will take us away into the world of Castle Falkenstein. I'll start real quick. I'm playing Oberon Winters, a gentleman wizard. I'll move on to the person to my left. PB, who are you playing?
Hi, I am PB from PB Plays Inside, and today I'm playing Isolina Atenas Montiel.
And right under PB is the last player for tonight, as we have one that's going to be back next week to play with us. But Deirdre, hi, welcome. Who are you playing?
Well, good evening. This evening I am the Contessa Lucrezia Sofia Vieravanti, and she's just enjoying herself in Barcelona at the moment.
And last but not least is our gracious host. I just want to make sure, can one of you speak again to make sure that we have sound?
Do we have sound?
Yeah, okay, we do. That's okay.
Excellent.
I was just making sure. So take us away, gracious host.
Thank you, Simon, and thank you to everyone that's watching. Welcome to Castle Falkenstein in the world of New Europa. For your viewing pleasure this evening, we have a stage that will be set in Barcelona, España. We have currently 3 of our players here with us as they introduce themselves: Oberon Winters, Isolina, and the Contessa. Each of them have their reasons for being in Barcelona that miraculously align. Some of it was fate, some of it was accident, but all of them have been invited. They've been invited to a party by a host, a mysterious host, who recently returned after years of being gone. Some thought he was dead, to take up the title that his parents had left to him. His name is Lord Marcos de Salinas, and we open at the manor of de Salinas. What you see before you is a large sprawling green and a 3-story solid stone house. Multiple rooms, multiple levels, lots of windows, lots of light. There are carriages parked out front with footmen and drivers. There are staff at the door greeting the nobles that are entering as they arrive. But before our players make their appearance, we're going to see just what the fortune deck has for them. And we will start with a 3-card spread. First, what is going to help them? What will help them is power. Power of the mind. That is what the 5 of spades represents. intellectual, strategic, cunning. That is where they will find their power tonight. What might hinder them is some young upstart, someone new to town maybe, someone that had maybe been missing, full of youthful and boisterous energy, who might get into their emotional state and toy with them. And where that harm that he might bring may arrive is with those emotions. If our players let them get the best of them, the night may not end the way that they intended. So with that, with the fates having spoken, let us begin our evening at the manor of Lord Marcos de Salinas. So tell me, players, how do you arrive this evening?
I would arrive early. I'm not one to be fashionably late, though I am fashionable. Oberon would arrive in a carriage, a modest carriage, dressed in a navy blue riding coat that is currently buttoned up, even despite the ambient temperature outside. He wears his signature top hat and walks with his cane. He doesn't have that pronounced of a limp, but it does seem like he has some difficulty to walk about.
And as you step out of the carriage and make your way up the stairs to the front door, you are greeted by a lovely maid who welcomes you and asks you for your name.
Miss, I am Lord Oberon Winters of the House of Winter.
And she turns to the gentleman to her left, who looks on a list and writes something down and nods. She says, "Oh, welcome, Lord Winters. We've been expecting you. Please, head on inside. If you'd like to leave your hat and coat, do so at the coat room." Walking inside, you'll find to your right a coat check. There's a small room there with another of the staff waiting to take your hat and coat if you wish.
And I will. I mean, we're supposed to be in polite company.
They kindly take it and set it aside in the coat room, hanging up the coat. And they then gesture towards the grand ballroom and say, "The rest of the guests are inside. There are refreshments there for you if you like."
Thank you.
Who arrives second?
I probably would. Isolina comes in her family's nice carriage, just newly bought, because the other one had worn down from so much use. And she comes in, probably like right on time, not late, not early, just, where it would be polite. And she arrives there alone and make sure to like scan the entire driveway, I have to assume, as she walks up to make sure if she sees anyone she knows before she walks up to the door where they are taking names.
As you're scanning the people along the drive, you do recognize a couple of the drivers and a few of the footmen, the carriages in which they are standing by, but none of their patrons are with them, so they must be inside already. Do you wish to move forward, or did you want to speak with any of them?
I will, if any of them look over at me, I will look at them and I will politely nod and give them a cheeky smile.
Okay.
And as I move my way up to the door.
Okay. At the door, the maid greets you as she did Oberon, welcoming you and asking for your name.
And I look at her as she asks for my name and I smile. And I say, I am Isolina Montiel.
Ah, yes, of course. And she turns and to the gentleman, who immediately nods. And she says, as you wish inside, if you have anything to check at the coat room, feel free to. Your wrap, maybe. And then the grand ballroom is just beyond that.
I give her a nice small courtesy, just courtesy, as I walk in and I say thank you. And I walk up and I do leave my wrap in the coat check and I walk in slowly, making sure to look at all of the rooms nearby, scoping the place out as I walk in.
You'll find a staircase going upstairs, an open staircase going upstairs that is between you and the grand ballroom. To the right of you, you'll find a hallway. From the smells and sounds, you believe that that's probably where the kitchen is. And to the left of you is a sitting room with glass French doors that seems to be for, taking conversational parties rather than dancing parties. But the bulk of there's no one there currently, and the bulk of the sound is coming from the ballroom where you hear music and merriment.
I will keep that all in mind as I walk in, and I immediately go for the refreshments, and I just pick up whatever
Okay.
is there.
And the Contessa, how does she arrive?
The Contessa arrives 5 minutes before it is fashionably late. Almost exactly. And while the carriage she is riding in is very fine, it is not hers. She is visiting in Barcelona, and so it is probably the owner of whatever hotel she decided to stay in. She's enjoying. And she is going to make an entrance because this is a party.
Yes, it is.
And she is full ball gown with large amounts of black lace and satins and silks. It is a very fine dress. And anyone noticing would have noticed that it is actually locally made, and she has a fan that she is carrying with her along with her reticule and her wrap, and she's gliding almost as she ascends the stairs to the door.
And at the door, the maid greets you as well, welcomes you in. So good to see you. If you don't mind, if you could give us your name.
Oh, but of course. I'm so sorry. Usually it is on the invitation and everyone expects me, but I am the Countess Lucrezia Sofia Fioravanti.
Oh, of course you are. And she turns to the gentleman who scribbles down something and nods his head and says, if you enter through on the right is the coat check. Feel free to leave anything that you wish there. And then on to the grand ballroom where the party has already begun.
Oh, but is it though? I just got there. So how could the party have already begun?
It is about to be better, I am certain, madam.
Of course. And she's going to smile politely at the maid, but kind of wink at the gentleman with the list as she moves on to the coat check and leaves the wrap and then keeps an eye on the rooms as she walks by, but she moves with purpose to the ballroom.
You'll see the similar things that Isolina saw as you walk through. To the right beyond the coat check is a hallway that you're pretty certain leads to the kitchen, and to the left is a sitting room, currently empty but lit, and then the grand open staircase, and then the ballroom just off to the left of the staircase. inside the ballroom, now that you all are there, there is a 5-string quartet playing. There are a number of guests mingling, a few dancing, and you'll find gentlemen walking around with trays of champagne, which Isolina found as the refreshments. There is a table at the back with a few petit fours and additional glasses of champagne.
I think I'll hang out near the table at the back.
Okay.
As far away from the dancing as I can possibly be.
Okay.
Oh, one question, Chris. Was I allowed to walk in with the cane, or do I have to leave that also at the coat check?
They made no fuss about you walking with the cane.
Okay.
There would have been a pause when they took your coat and hat to see if you also wanted to check that as well. But there was no insistence.
I would rather keep it as I needed to walk about.
They would have done nothing to try and make you feel as though you had to justify it. Just pausing long enough that if you were to turn it over, that they didn't turn their back on you.
Oh, okay. So polite.
And so Oberon has made his way toward the back wall where the petit fours are located. A beautiful array of different colors, pastel blues and pinks and greens, mixed in a few purples and definitely some whites. Very spring, very lively. Isolina, where did you make your way to when you entered?
I went over to the crowd, especially the ones I recognize. I go and I greet them as one would acquaintances.
Excellent. You find amongst the mingling crowd, which is where I'm guessing you're headed, and not the dancing crowd at this point, you'll find a number of people from a variety of families. A couple ones of note are the Santiagos and the Marquez family. Though the head of the Marquez family is not there. It is one of his nephews. Your family is better acquainted with Ferdinand Marquez, the head of the family. But you do recognize his nephew, who is present. You'll also notice that a couple of what you would say are business associates of the Marquez family are accompanying the nephew, whose name is Enrique. The other family of note is that you know of is the, I want to make sure I pronounce this correctly, the Farraquin family. They are recent transplants, recent as in the last generation, from the south of France, which has always been a little bit more interesting than the longer lineages that have been here in Barcelona for so long, which is why they stand out to you more than some of the others.
I will definitely go and speak to them while keeping an eye out on the Marquez, Enrique and his associates.
Okay. Jeanette and I lost that name. We'll go with Lady Jeanette is the one that you find first. Jeanette Verrequin. While I find my notes on her husband's name, is the first one you meet, who greets you, as she always does, warmly. Oh, Isolina, it's so good to see you. How are you? Tell me everything.
I am doing so well, Jeanette. It is so nice to see you here. It's been so long since we've been at a party together.
It has. We've been traveling abroad. A lot of time in Austria and Hungary, working on business contracts, or so he says, anyway. Um,
Oh, as always working with this one.
mhm.
Oh,
um,
but you saw the sights, no? There's some
oh,
beautiful.
yes. Saw so many of them.
I've only heard. I've never had the pleasure myself. But you have to
Well,
tell me all about it, Jeanette.
Lorenz insisted that I go as many places as I could. But honestly, I was a little homesick. It's not near as temperate as it is here.
I can imagine all of that snow up there. Oof. It's
Mm,
cold just thinking about it.
yes, and to be honest, the skies are much gloomier than the skies in Barcelona. We really are fortunate to live in such a grand place.
Yes, you are very fortunate to have finally come to your senses and come to beautiful Barcelona.
I do thank my parents for moving us here. Yes.
And Lorenz, is Lorenz also here?
Yes, he went to go get some champagne. I have not seen him since. He's probably talking someone's ear off. You know how he is. He just cannot stop but give a good story.
No, especially after the trip. Oh, I cannot imagine.
Hmm. Yes, lots of stories to tell, I'm sure. Things that would probably bore you and I, but you know how it is with all of those contracts and things.
Oh, business.
About then, a woman in a very long, flowing, and noticeable black ball gown makes her way into the ballroom, catching most everyone's attention. Where does she head?
First, the Contessa is going to scan the ballroom, and she's going to, have the fan out to make sure that everyone sees her as she descends into the room.
After, a good count of 10 or 15, and the people that didn't see you notice other people staring that direction and turn to look, you know for sure that everybody has seen you make your entrance.
And she's been in Barcelona for a couple months now. Is there anyone she immediately recognizes?
Immediately recognizes probably Enrique Marquez. He is fairly well known because he's being groomed by his uncle, for Senor Ferdinand Marquez. You probably would know of the Farraquins, primarily Jeanette, because of the social circles that the two of you would have run in. But she's been traveling, so you would have known her more by reputation than by the number of times you've met.
So as she comes in, she's going to start almost swaying to the music that she hears and picks up a champagne glass and starts working the room towards Enrique.
Okay. As you make your way towards Enrique, you find him standing around with 4 other gentlemen, 2 of which are known associates with the Marquez family. The other 2 are, one's a local businessman. From the way that he dresses, you can tell that he's less noble, more purchased, so to speak. And the other is another landed noble, but a smaller footprint, and is one of the 2 representatives from the Santiagos, and that is Lady Maria Santiago.
And she'd kind of come up just on the outside of Enrique's line of vision and smile at him as she does so.
He is a dashing young gentleman who notices as you break into his periphery with your smile and your wiles, and he raises his glass to you.
Ah, Signore.
Contessa.
I have an empty dance card.
Oh, well, that will not do.
Not at all.
And he will turn to the people there and say, ladies and gentlefolk, I have a duty to perform, it seems. And he will hand his glass to one of the gentlemen to his side and break from the party to take you dancing.
And she's going to use the opportunity on the dance floor to scan the rest of the room and see who's doing what.
Okay. You'll find that there are a number of people dancing. It's actually a fairly small party compared to what you would have expected for all the hubbub and rumors about these parties popping up. But from the layout and the number of refreshments and everything, this was an expected number. So this party was very intentional, and its guest list was very intentional. There are probably, I don't know, I would guess maybe one or two people short of such an intentional planning, but they may be trying to be fashionably late a little more so than you did to make their own entrance. And the night will lead to their arrival. You'll find a gentleman with a cane standing over by the refreshments, scanning the room himself. Is there anything else that Oberon is doing while he stands over there? Okay. You will find a younger gentleman standing kind of on the side, trying to be back away from the dancing as well. He looks just old enough to be on his own, but not old enough to be established yet. And he looks a little out of place. Well dressed, but a little nervous, and like he wasn't sure exactly what to wear to this party, because as you know from the invitation, it was a little ominous and had some undertones that could make just about anyone a little nervous. I'm sorry. What did you say? Huh. Yeah, well, no, not my first party. My family hosts a number of them, but it's my first time in this house, and my first time without a lot of friends. No, I was hoping to speak to him before the night went on too long. Business, you know. But the servant said that we'd find him eventually. Like he'd show up and welcome us, but he hasn't shown up yet. Yeah, I guess so. Hmm. Oh, yeah. I was born here. My family. Ramirez family. My name is Santi Ramirez, and we go back generations, many generations. My great grandfather used to be a captain for the Empress, and yeah, before things fell apart. Nice to meet you, sir. And you said you haven't been here long. Where do you hail from? Oh, I haven't been to London. Though my parents keep talking about sending me there sometime. They say it's good for culture. They've been a number of times. I have been to Berlin and to Rome and twice to Paris. You should. They have very wonderful places to stay and all sorts of lovely sights to see. Mm-hmm. So I I haven't seen anyone from that family here yet tonight. Some families prefer to um, wait until everything gets started. That's what my mother says. I prefer to be prompt. Actually, usually a little too early. My mother says it's rude, but I can't help myself. I would hate to hold anyone up. It seems so inconvenient. Yeah, that's what my parents keep telling me. Yeah. Thank you. It was nice to meet you, Lord Winters. And as you take your leave, the Contessa, you would have noticed the conversation, maybe not picked up on any of the details as you are making your way across the floor. You will notice that there are a number of people gathered around. And in them, that's where you believe Jeanette Farraquin is, along with currently speaking with a lovely woman. And they seem to be very deep in conversation, and yet surrounded by a large number of people that seem to be waiting until the rest of them, or until they turn to the rest of them and include them in on the conversation as well. Isolina, what would the Contessa see as you're talking to Jeanette? Like, what about you stands out?
When you look at Isolina, you see her wearing always something to go with her complexion, as one always does. She has a very sun-kissed tan on, and she is wearing what is the word in English? A burgundy dress on, and she has this very dark black hair and a very, very sharp jawline with high cheekbones, and eyes always attentive on who she is speaking with, but also always looking around, which is, I feel, is something you would notice. And I am in deep conversation with Jeanette about something or other.
because those are the details that matter to Isolina, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah. So what you would see from your viewpoint as you continue your conversation with Jeanette, as she fills the time with small talk, is you will have noticed a handful of things. You would have seen Oberon's exchange across the room. You would have also picked up on the exchange between the Contessa and Enrique Marquez as they took to the dance floor, as well as the way that he separated from the group for the Contessa. You will have noticed that Maria Santiago seemed to not be bothered at all, not near as much as the business associate, not the two common business associates of Marquez, but the businessman that was there. He seemed a little put off that he was in mid-conversation and interrupted. But he turns to watch the dance as though it's, polite to do. Throughout the room, there are other pairings. There are usually 2 or 3 people at a time having conversations. But you also notice that the room is much more sparsely populated than most parties for a house this size and for a title of the level of De Salinas. They're not huge. They're not like one of the ruling families in the area, but they're large enough that their parties are usually fairly packed. So this seems very intentional to you, very strategic. And based on your invitation, you have your inklings as to why. Anything else that you would like to do at this time before we return to the dance floor?
I think I definitely, after speaking with Jeanette for a while and noticing how the party has settled, how the groups have formed, and garnering, I feel like, enough information from Jeanette that I need to know at the moment, I will notice this young man and a semi-familiar face out in the distance. And I will politely say, "Oh, Jeanette, I believe I see someone I know. I will have to leave you now and go see what there is to know about this familiar face."
Oh, go ahead, my dear. We have all night. It looks like we'll have more than enough champagne based on the number of bottles they keep bringing out and filling.
Absolutely. You will come and get me once Lorenz comes out.
Oh, of course I will.
I would love to say hello to him before the night is done.
Mm-hmm.
And I will move off in the direction of Oberon.
Okay. You make your way toward Oberon, and you get there about the time that he parts ways with the young man. And what happens there?
I come up and I see Santiago if he cares not at all. His name is no, he's not Santi. Santi
yeah.
Ramirez. And if he doesn't notice, I will not call attention to him. But I will come up to Oberon and I'll say, "Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes?"
I don't believe we've met.
I believe your face looks a lot better than the last time I saw it.
Is it showing?
No, you did a very good job. A very good job.
Well then. Seems like I'm not the only one who likes to, slum.
That is such an ugly word for enjoying your time out near the ocean. It is nice to see you cleaned up.
Well, I sort of had to for the occasion.
It is fair. Although it appears your friend over there did not get that memo.
Oh. Santi. Not my friend, just an acquaintance. He, Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Oh, what are my manners? My name is Isolina. at Tenas Montiel.
Oh, Montiel. Well, I believe I have business with your family.
In which way, senor?
I'm looking for builders, tinkers, perhaps.
Very interesting, senor.
Oh, my manners. Lord Oberon Winters.
Lord Winters, it is a pleasure to meet you.
A pleasure is all mine.
If you wish to speak business, we can do so afterwards. I mean, one must at least enjoy the party.
Yes, as enjoyable as this invitation was. I'm for one very curious to see who our host is and what their intentions are.
Oh, Marcos de Salina, yes. He seems to be elusive tonight. Haven't seen him.
Me neither.
Are you acquainted with Senor Salina?
Oh, no. I've arrived recently. My first sight I had of Barcelona was, well, down by the docks, it seems.
Well, you sure know where to go see the sights, Lord Winters.
I had to stretch a bit after the discomfort of the road, as it were. I did not see you in the crowd, though. You weren't participating, were you?
No. A lady does not participate in such things, but I come in here and there every once in a while. I see what I see. But it is nice seeing you, Lord Winters. I have a feeling we might be seeing each other a little more.
Well, the pleasure was all mine.
I'll do a nice little curtsy. And I'll walk away, but turn back once, give you a wink, and keep on walking. Towards the dance floor.
I'll down my drink.
So as Oberon is cooling off and Isolina is making her way toward the dance floor, we return to the Contessa and her graceful movements across the room. Enrique's been talking politely with you, making small talk as you dance, asking you about your time in Barcelona, if you've enjoyed it so far.
Oh, it's always been a pleasure.
And what I see you also received an invitation this evening.
Oh, yes. Anyone who's anyone always invites me.
Indeed, I imagine that they do.
Oh, signore. Are you shocked at my accepting such an invitation?
No, not at all. I'm mostly intrigued by the people who receive them.
Always a good thing to be intrigued by who attends a party such as this.
I mean, look around you. This is not the normal crowd. There's an intermingling of generations and stations.
That just means the party is going to be more fun.
And we do like fun, don't we?
Only the best. But I interrupted you with your lady friend, apparently, signore. You're holding out on me.
Oh, Maria is an old childhood friend. Her family and mine are, I don't know, allies?
Aw. Are you sure that's all she is, signore?
She's made that very clear on multiple occasions.
Oh, that's good. I like to know these things.
If anyone was upset, it would have been the Englishman, Bernard, who is standing next to her.
But he's an Englishman.
This is true.
And upsetting Englishmen is just so much fun. They get a little wrinkle in their nose and...
Well, his is slightly bulbous. It does throb a little red when he gets upset. I have seen that on a number of occasions.
I wonder... Do you want to see if you can make him really upset, Signore?
Then what do you propose?
Oh, well, I believe on the next turn... Yes, in the next turn we'll be passing right by him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to see if he can catch me?
Oh, now that would be fun. I'm assuming this means you would not mind.
Oh, anything for a little fun.
And as the two of you turn and spin, he extends his arm, spinning you outward. And do you keep your grip and come up short, or do you let go? He leaves it to you.
She wants to find out more about the Englishman because she knows Enrique. And so she's going to intentionally make it look like she's slipped and fall backwards onto the Englishman.
And let's see here. What does Bernard have in the way of athletics? Well, he is a portly fellow, but he is also a aspiring gentleman of his own, and he drops his glass but catches you.
Oh, Signore, thank you very much. My head just got a little too much spinning, I believe. We haven't been introduced. You are?
Yes, madam. My name is Bernard. Bernard Smythe.
Signore Smythe. I'm the Countessa Lucrezia Sofia Fioravanti.
Oh. Nice to meet you, Contessa.
Do you not dance, Signore?
Not since myself and Margaret got married all those years ago.
And is your lady not here?
No. She's actually visiting her mother in Liverpool.
Oh, seems such a shame for you to be so alone.
It's business.
Such are the things. And Maria's standing next to him still, right?
Yeah, she sidestepped to make sure that there was enough room in case he missed. But she's still there.
She'll walk, she'll kind of, as she kind of slides towards Maria and just kind of go, your Enrique is such a gentleman.
She smiles at you and says, Enrique is quite the gentleman. He is not mine by any stretch, though. If you are in the market, as the rumors say, have at him.
Oh, darling. I've already had mine. Now it's just entertainment in a ballroom. Yes, my dear husband Stefano, it's so sad.
Well, to Stefano, may he rest in peace. She raises her glass and takes a sip.
Of course. Well then, apparently, I need to find a drink. It's so hot on this dance floor. And she'll start moving her way through the crowd towards the back of the room.
Okay. About that time, a gentleman will make his way in. He is wearing a very neatly tailored tuxedo with the long tails. And he clears his throat, and the string quartet goes silent. And he says, ladies and gentlefolk, I am Lord Marcus de Salinas. I welcome you to my party. I hope that you have a wonderful time. Please eat and drink as much as you'd like. I will be around to greet each one of you personally throughout the night. Do not worry. And he turns to one of the maids and whispers something to her. And then he locks eyes with Bernard, and he points over at him and says, and motions for him to come forward. You'll also notice that as soon as he came in, young Santi started moving toward the door to try and intercept him. But he is kind of ushered back by one of the gentlemen with a tray of champagne glasses as De Salinas and Mr. Smythe make their exit.
I will take a second drink.
Are you going to continue mingling? Is anyone going to look for other, I don't know, places?
Are we allowed to move about the house as we see fit?
Nobody seems to be stopping you. The only time that anyone seemed to have made such a movement of sorts was when Santi was half jogging, half walking toward Marcos. But outside of that, they don't seem to be barring any sort of movement of yours.
Then I think Oberon would like to look for a library.
Okay.
Or a study.
Mm-hmm.
Or a smoking room. Really, one of the three.
So you could ask any of the staff, or you could wander. Which would you prefer?
I think he'd prefer to wander.
Okay. So as you exit the ballroom, on your left now, as you're facing the front doors, is the coat check and a hallway that seems to lead, based on the sounds and smells, toward the kitchen. To the right is a lit sitting room. And at this time, you'll actually see a couple of people from this angle in it. They're back in one of the corners in a pair of overstuffed chairs.
Ooh. I'm gonna go there.
Okay.
Especially if there's a chair available.
Oh, yeah. In the sitting room, there's a number of chairs, and they're kind of set up in such a fashion that you could have groups of 2 or 4 at different spots and have their own conversations. So along one of the walls is a couch that could sit 2 or 3 people, depending on how robust their posteriors are, and 2 not overstuffed, but 2 nicely appointed and embroidered chairs with a small coffee table. And then you have the 2 overstuffed chairs in one of the corners facing out, next to a small table that has a plant on it, a fern. And then you have another setting like that across in the other corner. And then in the center, you actually have just 3 of these, 4 of these chairs around a round circular table, coffee table height, with a tea set on it. It looks like it's more decorative though, because there is no steam or anything coming from it. And the sugar dish you can see has no sugar in it.
I'll make my way to... you said that there were 2 gentlemen speaking with one another in the overstuffed chair. Are there any more people in the room at the moment?
No, at the moment, that is the only people that are in the room. There are paintings on the walls. There's a door across from the entrance. that leads somewhere. It's closed currently. And there was a hall just to the right of it that would lead back into the rest of the first floor on that side of the house. So that would be the west side of the house.
I think I'll feign interest in the paintings and just eavesdrop the conversation for a few moments just to get the gist of what they're talking about and to see if I can insert myself in the conversation and avoid. I want to avoid the ballroom and the dancing at all costs, so even if it's dreary, I might just stay here.
Fair enough. Remind me again what level your perception is at.
Average. It's not one of my either good or exceptional skills.
Would you like to play a card? And I will deal those now because I didn't deal them earlier.
Ooh. I would.
And there we go.
There it is. All right. And what is the suit for?
The suit.
It's mental, I think.
There is mine. I don't say I closed those.
I'm getting the.
I'm reopening it now.
PDF
The suit
out, yeah.
for perception. If I can read, diamonds.
Diamonds.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, I have a diamond, so I'll just play it.
Okay. You'll catch a few tidbits with that. They aren't trying to be stealthy even as you come in. They seem to actually not really pay you much mind. One of the two gentlemen does give you a glance, but not anything of concern or anything of that nature. Instead, they just continue on their way. They seem to be fairly engrossed in their conversation. The one that did look you up and down a little bit looks at the other and goes, no, that's not what we agreed upon, and you know it. And the other says, but Lorenz, the Austrians are not going to do what you want them to do. And that's kind of about the only thing that you really pick up on. The rest of it, it's just kind of arguing about terms, about is this enough? Is that enough? They don't get into specifics because they both seem, it's like if you're talking to someone that you know really well and that you know the subject really well that you're talking about, using a lot of it's and theys and that's, a lot of those terms and things rather than specifics, because the other person has all the context already. So in and of itself, that familiarity almost makes it into some sort of code.
And I don't think I'd be much welcome in that conversation. So Oberon will leave this room and keep on looking for another interesting room. Still looking for a library, because I like to take a look at what people are reading and what they display as far as their supposed education is.
Okay. So you'll make your way out of the room and I'm assuming down the hall, or are you going up the grand staircase to the second floor?
I'll try my hand at going up the grand staircase.
Okay.
See if I'm rebuffed like the other was.
Nope. One of the maids just smiles as you walk by. You walk up to the second floor. The second floor is laid out very similarly to the first. The only difference is that there's no staircase going up to the third floor from here. So instead, you have a large landing area that seems to be another sitting area with some beautiful and large windows that overlook the front drive. To the left, you have a hallway that goes to the east wing, and to your right is a hallway that goes to the west wing. with no indications of what is on either side.
No, of course. Who would put indications inside their own home?
Yeah.
I'll try for the east side.
Okay. As you head into the east wing, you make your way through the hallway. You do see a number of doors that are currently closed, but there is one that's cracked slightly open and does have light coming from it. Outside of that, the hallways are lit, but there's nothing out of the ordinary. Fine paintings like you've seen throughout the house, plants. Most of them are all, ferns or other broadleaf indoor plants of sorts that you see.
Do I just barge into any random room? I think I'll make my way to the west wing first, and then I'll pace back and forth and see if anything strikes as, catches my eye or my ear.
Okay. The west wing does look a little different. As you come in, there is a room immediately to your left that would be at the front. And it is, the doors are open, and this actually is what you are looking for. It is a large library. There is a circular table in the center with an intricately carved inlay that depicts a artistic representation of a compass. You do believe that it is oriented correctly, north, south, east, and west, based on your just natural inclinations toward those things. Mm-hmm. There is also a spyglass, relatively large and long. You think it might be more of a telescope than a spyglass. And there are 2 globes, one in each corner of the room. One of them, clearly, you can tell from where you're standing, depicts the globe as you know it. The other, though, is dark and has a number of white lit up spots on it. You can tell that they're lit because they cast light onto the back wall that would normally have a shadow. And you believe that it is a map of the constellations.
Oh, wow. I would like to study that globe just
all right,
out of sheer curiosity. I don't figure that I've seen such a thing before. I'm basing it on my own experience, like in real life, outside of the game. A globe of constellations isn't something that I've seen, so I figure maybe Oberon didn't either.
Some places would have had, like in the case for the globe, sometimes the top that opens will have a painted depiction of the constellations, but you have never seen anything like this that's lit up. Basically, it is a dark metal globe with all these spots in it that light up and shine where each of the constellations are. Upon closer inspection, you will notice, you might notice, what's your perception?
My perception is, it's average.
Average? Right, we just talked about that. Yep. Goodness gracious. And what's... Oh, right. What is your invention is also diamonds, though, and so is education, correct?
Yeah, I'm great at education and good at invention.
Okay. We'll take the average of those, which is good, as your base then. Okay. So that'd be a 6. And you will notice ever so slightly that you think it's moving, but it might just not be steady, or whatever it is that's casting the light might be gyrating it. Mm-hmm. Would you like to play a card to see if you can notice more?
I would. My belief is that this thing is magical. Or perhaps maybe something... and that would be... we said mental, right?
Mm-hmm. So any diamonds or jokers are also any suit.
Yeah, I think I'll just drop something for a +1, and that's it.
Okay. So that would give you a 7. You will notice that it whatever is emitting the light doesn't seem to be emitting any heat, and that the movements are subtle, but you think they're intentional.
Okay.
Maybe with more study, you could learn more about it. Would you like to sit here for a little while I talk to the other players and study it further?
Oh, yeah. Oberon does not feel like dancing anyway, so if he was gonna find anything interesting and spend time on it, or if someone barges into the room or comes in to chat or what have you, he'd rather do that than dance.
Okay. So we will leave you to your globe of constellations and return back to the dance floor, where we find both Isolina and the Contessa. What have you done since Lord de Salinas made his proclamation and then promptly left with Bernard Smythe?
The Contessa is notices who Lord Marcus pulled out first, and notices who he did not, and is trying to decide, and then begins working her way through the rest of the room, finding various people that she can dance with, and working her way towards larger groups of people that she could just overhear conversation. Because it's intriguing that Lord Marcus pulled out someone without the title before any of those with rank.
Mm-hmm. And so is there anyone in particular that you want to check in with first? Are you looking more to see whether or not those with greater titles are put out by this? Are you looking to see, are you thinking about Santi Ramirez, who seemed to be rebuffed by one of the wait staff?
She noticed that, but she also figured that he's just eager and wouldn't actually know pretty much of anything that is going on. But she's looking for someone, she's looking to see who the large groups are and seeing who's upset by that. Or who's not upset that should be.
Okay. You'll notice most people are just a little perplexed by how what's going on. A couple people seemed unsettled, and a few seemed relieved by his proclamation that he would get to everyone in due time. You would have noticed that Enrique and Maria both didn't seem to flinch when he flagged for Bernard first. They also didn't seem like they expected it. It was more of a non-reaction, like they didn't know what to expect, and so anything would be fine. Mm-hmm. The only one that seemed to have been somewhat flustered by the ordeal seems to have been Jeanette Farraquin, because she was looking, but not by his proclamation, but more like she was looking around for someone and upset that she could not find that person.
Well, apparently she's going to notice that and make her way over to Jeanette.
Okay. And how do you introduce yourself?
She'd catch the eye of someone that's hanging around Jeanette Farraquin.
Okay. There are a number of, actually everyone around her is someone of some level of noble standing. Most of them have lesser titles or are so far down the line that they have no influence over their families. But they are all here, you think, to boost their own status by being around her, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. She'd pick out one that she's seen at some party or whatever and have them provide the introduction.
Okay. We'll go with, let's see here, a gentleman by the name of Henri Bordeaux. He is visiting from Marseille and has been around about as long as you have, running in similar circles, trying to make a name for himself.
Has she met him in Marseille?
She has not met him in Marseille. She has heard of his family when she was in Marseille, but they did not cross paths. Again, not the largest family. Primarily, he's wanting to change that, and he doesn't mind breaking a few eggs to try and make an omelet.
So she's going to raise an eyebrow at him and walk up.
Oh, my lady.
Would you be a dear, signore and monsieur? And she, middle of conversation, she switches to French and says,
Mademoiselle.
I thank you for the compliment, senor, but my dear late husband definitely confirmed that isn't true.
Oh.
And she'll, will you be such a dear and provide a kind introduction for me, signore?
As you wish. And he will kind of straighten up and puff out his chest a little and say, Madame Jeanette, Madame Faraquin, we have a guest. If you wouldn't mind the interruption, I believe the two of you might have more in common than you might not think. And he'll wait for you to introduce yourself at this point because he never caught your name.
Contessa Lucrezia Sofia Fioravanti.
Oh, she was smiling. Said, yes, I've heard you've been in town. I'm so sorry. I've been traveling and haven't had a chance to formally meet you.
Oh, I heard you were, and just knew when I saw you across the room that it would be such a tragedy if I did not introduce myself as appropriate, but where have you been traveling to?
Well, mostly Austria and Hungary lately. Business. Lorenz is always on business.
Did you enjoy Vienna?
Vienna was nice, yes. The rest of it was fine.
That has always been my impression of Vienna. Is beautiful. I had such a wonderful time the last time I was there.
And what can I do for you this evening, my dear?
Oh, just making introductions to everyone I haven't met yet. Although I did notice it was quite shocking that our dear host doesn't abide by the social norms.
Yeah.
Always entertaining.
That's been Marcos's thing since he returned, I guess. I really wish Lorenz would have been here to catch him and talk to him and get this over with now.
But then we wouldn't have such a party to have fun with. And while some of the people here are entertaining, the dancing is nice, the music is appreciable, and the champagne's not bad.
This is true. It's not bad. It's no Marseille, but it's not bad.
No, Marseille is beautiful.
And the champagne. I mean, everybody talks about Paris, but Paris, there's so many people. Everything gets watered down at parties. And I mean that quite literally. Marseille, they have a different standard.
Marseille was so much fun the last time I was there. When was the last time you were back?
Not since this past summer.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
I was also there during the summer. Well, I didn't get to meet you. I feel so upset by this.
Oh, well, I was mostly there to deal with family. My great aunt passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'll
Thank
pray
you.
for her soul. Do you
Appreciate
have a name I can add for my prayers?
it. Yes, you can call her Antoinette Farraquin.
Antoinette?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, such a lovely name. But you must tell me, which of these charming young men are you going to let dance with you first? Just so I know which ones I have to choose from.
I had planned to dance with Lorenz, but he seemed to be busy with business.
Well, then we should obviously make him horribly jealous of whatever he missed.
I like how you think. And she turns about and looks at Honore, who had been basically pestering for attention the entire time he's been there, and says, "It's time to dance." And they head off to the dance floor.
And she'll wait just a beat of a second, see who else is going on, and then choose some young, impressionable gentleman to say, I do believe I have an open slot on my dance card.
Okay. Would you like to make it a very blushing, young, impressionable someone and dance with Santi?
Oh, she would do that. She will totally do that.
He will be completely flustered, but very polite. And he is a very adept dancer, very light on his toes. And he will actually calm down on the dance floor, oddly enough.
Ah. Something you enjoy, signore.
Yes, I've always liked dancing.
That is nice. Is there a particular partner you wish to dance with?
Right now, I dance with who I'm with. So you, my lady.
Right answer.
He seems much more charming than he did before, now that he's relaxed. You can tell that he does come from noble stock and was well schooled, something that was not nearly as apparent when he was anxiously waiting.
Okay. She would just then use the opportunity to, again, gauge the dance floor and see who's doing what and see who, because she noticed the conversation between Oberon and Isolina, right?
Yes, she would have noticed that they had a conversation.
Well, and then she would then ask Santi about the charming young woman, the very charming young woman in that gorgeous, striking, bright burgundy dress.
I must have missed her. Who was it?
Signore, I know that I...
And he starts looking around the room.
No. I'm really going to have to teach you so many things. You don't start to you don't turn your head. Just turn as you're dancing. There we go. That's much better.
Okay.
That charming young lady right over there.
Oh.
I mean.
Oh, okay. Yes. That's Isolina. I know her family.
Are you going to be so kind and provide me an introduction?
Sure. Can we finish the dance first, though?
Of course.
I'm really enjoying myself.
And you do it quite well.
No, thank you. And I need to let Mr. Winters know that she's here. He was looking for someone from the Montiel family earlier. I feel
Oh,
so embarrassed that I didn't notice she was here before.
Signore Winters. That the charming, very English gentleman you were speaking with earlier.
Yes. He's new to town. From London, I think he said. Yes, London. I know because I told them that my parents want me to go to London. They say it'll be good culture for me. Sounds so boring and drab.
Well, I personally have never been to London, but if I want culture, I go to Roma. If I want fun, I go to Paris. And if I want relaxation, I go to Marseille.
I've been to all of those. But I was very young the last time I was in Marseille. And Paris is so busy. Rome is my favorite of them. It really is. And I've been to Berlin. Have you been to Berlin?
Oh, no. I really didn't want to go any further north once I hit Vienna. It's so cold.
But I don't know. They just, there's something about Berlin. It's so in order, regimented.
But why would you want order when you can have a little fun? And every Prussian I've ever met does not dance anywhere near as well as, well, you.
Why, thank you. About then, the song will end, and he will lead you over to Isolina and introduce you. You can start by, my apologies, Isolina. I didn't notice you come in. I'm so sorry. It's so good to see you again. I don't know if you remember me. It's Santi Ramirez.
Of course I remember you, Santi. What a ridiculous question. How could one forget your dancing skills?
Thank you.
So again, who is your friend here, Santi?
This is the Contessa, Lucretia. She's staying here. She's been to Marseille. I don't remember. Did you say you were from Roma or?
Oh, no, my late husband was the Conte Stefano di Fioriello of Syracuse.
Ah, yes. So, further south in the Mediterranean. Oh, I bet it's beautiful there.
Oh, on the coast in southern Sicily. You have not been, Signore, until you have been.
I will have to put it on my list. So many places to see.
Oh, travel is the one joy in my life right now. But, Signorina Isolina?
Yes, my name is Isolina Atenas Montiel. It is nice to meet you, Contessa. I have heard so much.
Oh, most of those stories aren't true. Some of them are.
Well, only the best ones are the one to believe.
Probably. But it looks like you have an empty glass, Signore Pepicere.
Oh, yes. I'll be right back. Would you like one as well, Contessa?
Of course, since
Okay.
you're offering.
I'll be right back. And he will scamper off.
This poor boy. You're only toying with him. Be gentle.
But he's so fun. And he thinks that London is enjoyable. Ugh.
Somewhere so cold. Oof.
And
One would
worse,
not think he is from Barcelona. Oof.
apparently he desires to go to Berlin as well. Enjoyed
Berlin.
it.
Who would enjoy Berlin and for what reason?
The order? Why would anyone want order? But I have to know. Since you apparently were such good friends with my dear new friend Jeanette,
Oh, yes.
who is worth my time in this room?
Worth your time, Miss Contessa. I see you have spoken already with Enrique.
I've met him a couple times at previous events, and he's nominally entertaining.
Oh, well, if you are looking for entertaining, I look around the room. Out of the people, I know, not really. The people in here. Right? Like Lorenz, no. Santi, I would honestly, bless his soul, but Santi would be the most interesting one. He knows people, and he likes to talk.
That I found out very easily. But we shall see what else happens tonight. Are you at least enjoying yourself, dear?
Always. So many people, and such an interesting party.
I really must get the name of your seamstress. She did fabulous work on that dress.
Oh, absolutely, Contessa. I shall get you that information on the morrow. Where are you staying?
It's the hotel on the main plaza, the Hotel Barcelona.
I'll get
Oh.
your name. Give me a second.
Oh, to Barcelona. It's beautiful. Have you stayed there your entire time in Barcelona?
Mostly. There was a brief week, but for the most part, that I stayed somewhere else. But there was a brief. But this is where I've been staying for the most part.
It's a beautiful hotel. Have you been liking Barcelona?
It's been quite entertaining so far. I mean, it was a pleasant place to spend the winter, and after Paris and Vienna, I needed the warmth and the sunshine.
And the beautiful water. I hope you have been enjoying the sea.
Oh, I always do. It's almost as beautiful as Taormina. Makes one homesick almost.
Well, at least it is the sea. It connects everywhere, no?
True. And at least it's warm. I was in Vienna and they actually wanted to go ice skating on the river.
Why would anyone want to be more cold? Stay on the coast. Well, who goes up there? Why did anyone decide to stay up there?
Well, because they couldn't be lucky enough to be born down here.
You are not incorrect. Are you going to be staying in Barcelona long, Contessa?
It fits my current plans. I'm traveling at the moment after my dear late husband's death.
Oh, yes, bless his soul. I'm so sorry to hear about that.
Yes, well, apparently he just keeled over at dinner.
Oof. An awful way to go.
Well, there are worse ways one could go, I've heard. Although I did hear, now you didn't hear this from me.
Absolutely.
I did hear, however, that there was a minor marquis in Vienna who may have keeled over at a worse opportune time than my dear late husband.
Oh.
His mistress was quite shocked by the whole affair.
I'm sure she should be. And those who had to go get him afterwards.
But
So, are you enjoying yourself here, Contessa?
well, yes, it's been quite pleasant. How are you doing? Are you enjoying it?
Absolutely. I've done a little bit of mingling here and there. The champagne is of high quality. Considering
And
how
they're
much-
not watering it. Yeah, and they're not watering it down, so that's a positive at the moment.
Yes, with how long Lord Marcos was gone, it seems he's been doing well for himself.
Doesn't seem too badly.
Absolutely. The Salinas family, at least he's making it interesting. More than they did.
About then, Santi returns with 2 glasses of champagne, one for each of you.
Thank you, Santi. Quite a gentleman.
Grazie, signore.
And he will take his leave. He'll say, I will come find you later. I have some business to attend to. And he rushes off with his youthful gait out of the room and disappears into the hallway.
I'm quite entertained by the number of people who have business with Lord Marcos.
It is, especially the ones at this party today. I heard poor Jeanette has not even seen Loren since they got here.
Apparently not. But I did talk to her for a brief period. Apparently he did quite well in Austria, and while she enjoyed Vienna, there was less of it other places to enjoy. I mean, I can understand that. There isn't a whole lot of things in Austria that I enjoy.
No, unless you like the cold. God forbid.
The opera is entertaining.
One can go to the opera in warmer places.
Also true.
I have seen many people disappear off that way.
Maybe we should find out what's going on over there then.
I think we should. And I will drink a little bit more of my champagne. And I will loop my arm with yours.
Yes.
As we start making our way over there.
As you do, you Isolina, you will clearly note that Lorenz has rejoined the party. He seemed to have stepped in while the two of you were engrossed in conversation and slipped your notice as he did. There's another gentleman that entered that neither of you recognize, who is over by the refreshments. You had noticed that he had walked that direction, but hadn't paid any mind to it. But he seems to, from your angle as you're walking now, he seems to be watching people, but trying to look like he's not watching people. Simple black tuxedo, a bowler hat. He doesn't look like money, but he also doesn't look totally out of place, like he's wearing a borrowed suit. The tux is obviously fitted for him. He has, he's clean shaven, has discerning eyes, but they're fairly common chestnut eyes. There's nothing like striking about them other than the way that they seem to size everyone up. His build is
was on the internet.
a little more hardy than others. I wouldn't say stout or portly like Bernard, but maybe someone that once served in the military, but he looks relatively young for a long career. The other thing that you will notice as you're scanning, there's yet a third person that you hadn't seen before, a lady in a striking gown, similar to the two of you and Jeanette, definitely moneyed. It is a very crisp sky blue with white lace trim, and a number of flourishes about it. She has raven dark hair and olive skin, and she seems to be mingling very politely with people, but not staying very long as to have a conversation with any particular group, kind of making the rounds, so to speak. Something that, well, the two of you might do as well, to kind of introduce yourselves and get the lay of the land. Outside of that, you will notice that Bernard returns and kind Contessa, you will notice that his nose is a bit red.
Englishman.
And on that comment, we are going to take our break for the evening. Give us about 5 minutes and we will return refreshed and ready for the second act of tonight.
And we just lost connection.
And we are back, everyone.
We are back. Thank you for sticking around with us. As we return, we had just seen Bernard Smythe return. He seemed a little not happy. We noticed there were a few more bodies in the ballroom than what we had previously. And we're going to start upstairs with Oberon. And Oberon, one of the things that you've noticed while you've been studying this thing is that it is indeed magical. You can assess that it is not a motor. There's no heat coming off of it. The light is being produced by some sort of sorceress device inside of it. It also is slightly moving. And after you take a little bit of time to study that, you go around the room and you find, a couple other charts, some naval charts, and you start lining up and realizing it is timed with the night sky.
Mm.
And it's slight movements that you thought were gyrations that were just slowly moving are actually the rotation of the planet.
This is fascinating. I am not muted. Okay, good.
You're pretty certain that if you didn't have the sight you did when it came to magic, that you would not have noticed the movements, as they would be imperceptible to the naked eye. You would have to literally come back a few days and have measured, to see where things had moved.
And is it mapped to the night sky from a specific point, such as here? Or is it just, all around the Earth in general?
There are windows here, and the sky is actually clear. You can match it.
Oh, wow.
Like if you move around to where you believe Madrid to be, you will be able to match, or not Madrid, sorry, Barcelona to be, you will match it to the night sky you see outside.
I get a pad of paper and a pencil from my waistcoat pocket, and I just start scribbling madly notes about the globe and what I need to tell Marcus Desalinas about this fascinating discovery. Well, not discovery, but this fascinating trinket that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know how it's... I'm just noting down, questions that I need to ask him, like how was it made, or where did he get it, etc., etc., etc.
While you're doing that, and you're picking up on a variety of details, are you engrossed in this, or are you also paying attention to your surroundings?
No, I think Oberon would be engrossed in this.
Okay. Well, at that point then, there is the sound of a door being flung open from somewhere else that you pick up on, because you really can't not pick up on it, because it's accompanied by the scream of a woman.
What the hell? I'll pocket the notebook and the pencil, and I'll rush as fast as I can.
Okay. As you make your way out of the library, you can tell that the screaming is coming from the East Wing, and one of the maids rushes out and just basically runs right into you, like towards you, and sobs into your shoulder. He's dead. He's dead. I can't believe he's dead.
Take a deep breath, ma'am. Take a deep breath. Who's dead?
The Lord. Someone killed him.
You mean Lord Desalinas?
Yes.
is there a place for her to sit nearby?
Yes, at the top, the landing has all sorts of chairs
All right.
because it's kind of like another sitting area with those large windows that overlook the drive.
Okay. So I think I'll help her sit down, and I'll say I'll go get help.
Okay.
You can stay here. I'll get someone.
As Oberon is about to leave, let's rewind a tad. And as the Contessa and Isolina are taking their appraisals of the ballroom, where in the ballroom are you at this point? Where did you position yourselves?
I think we were working our way towards the door, right?
Yes, that is the direction we were going.
Okay. So you will catch, because what are your perceptions again? I know at least one of you has a great.
Mine's good. Yeah, my perception is good.
Okay.
Yep,
And then Isolina's is great, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You will both catch the sound of footsteps. You will catch that are running, and they're running away from the ballroom. You will catch a different set of footsteps that seem to be coming from behind toward the ballroom, but you're not 100% sure from where, from your position, and unless you spin around to take your attention off the doorway. That's all I'm going to give there right now until I'm done, and you can tell me what you do from there. You'll also catch the sound of the door being flung open and the scream of the woman. You will be able to see one or the lady who was at the coat check, the woman at the coat check, looking up the stairway, kind of like slack-jawed and startled. As she's staring at something at the top of the stairs. Selena, you will also pick up, sorry to interrupt, you will also have picked up that you saw someone, not just heard footsteps, but you saw someone running out the front door. You believe, based on the build and how quickly they moved, that it was Santi. But the footsteps running away, you also heard a second set going into the servants' quarters and or into the kitchen area that also houses the servants' quarters and through that part of the first floor.
So I hear the lithe steps of Santi running out, as you said?
Yes.
Running
out the front door.
Okay. So the moment I start hearing the like faster than polite footsteps,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to turn my attention over there.
Okay.
And if I notice that she's turning behind us, I'm going to keep looking the other direction. Does that make sense?
Okay. So the ones behind us, the ones behind you were odd, but not necessarily like you saw Santi go out the front door, out through the doors.
Mm-hmm.
And those were the loudest ones. So you're turning to the ones that you're not sure where they came from, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the Contessa is keeping her eyes out the doors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does that
make sense? Do either of you want to play a card at this point?
Actually, I do.
Okay. Perception is mental, so those are diamonds.
Mm-hmm. And it's just drag and drop, no?
Yeah, just drag and drop. And I can adjust it from there. Okay.
So, and then I have good perception, so 13. That right? 6 and 7?
Yes. So you will pick up on a handful of things staring out the front door. You will catch the silhouette of a person running out. You will catch the sound of a carriage and the horses moving away from the building shortly after. Then you will also catch a second set or a second carriage also leaving at that time. I am going to play a card as well to dump some points. It's not going to change anything, but I need to dump some points. And did Isolina want to play any cards to boost your perception as you look for the stranger of the sounds?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, the Queen of Diamonds. You will actually notice that a figure arrives down the stairs. You didn't know those stairs were there, but there were stairs in one of the corners of the room. It's a hidden panel that opens to stairs from the west side of the room, and out steps a woman. You could have swore that you saw that woman on the other side of the room just moments ago in that blue dress with the white lace fringe, talking to everyone, making herself and her presence known. And as you scan around, where you thought she was, she's not there anymore. She's in that corner doing the same thing, but now across the room. And you are certain she came basically out of the wall, out of that passageway.
And that's the direction I heard those strange footsteps?
Yep.
And I heard 2 sets of footsteps in that direction.
No, the other ones were going into the
out.
servants' quarters and out. And unless you were to pursue, you wouldn't be able to follow them.
Oh, that is very interesting. I'm suddenly very interested.
One thing that you will, with that queen, you will have recalled is the first time you saw her, she was wearing a very distinct brooch. It had, it was a flower, a rose, jeweled rose. It was rubies set in gold. Very tastefully done, not gaudy costume jewelry. This was clearly high-end jewelry, and that brooch is not on her currently.
And as both the Contessa and I finish our observations, and I'm assuming turn back, I won't look at you, but I will look forward, and I'll say, "Oh, it looks like the night just got even more interesting."
It's been so long since I've been at a party with an actual murder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look over at the lady in blue, and I'll say, "Do you know her?"
Looking over, do I know her?
No. Neither of you actually recognize her from where you are. Even with your perception check, she doesn't seem familiar to either of you. She does look Spanish, but she's not someone you've seen in Barcelona before.
I've not yet had the pleasure. You?
No, neither have I.
That is intriguing. Someone neither of us knows.
And with such a beautiful tailor.
Dress is impressive.
Did you see her walk over there?
No,
Neither.
I didn't.
But I did see her come out from over there. Maybe we should walk to the other side of the room and see what she found so interesting over here before.
That could be entertaining. Also
As this
intrigued.
conversation's going on, the hustle and bustle of what just happened with the crying and the screaming, people did move their way out to see what was going on, obviously. So most of the ballroom is emptying, and the woman in the blue dress is emptying with them, right basically your direction, because you're over by the door. So you wouldn't necessarily need to cross the room anymore, as people are now starting to turn into Gawker mode. And that's when, Oberon, you now have an audience. You don't need to go find somebody. People have come and found you.
He's dead. Lord Dessalines.
And one of the servants will run toward the study, which is in the east wing. So he'll run toward the east wing. And Enrique Marquez, who you saw dancing, so you notice him from that, but you haven't been introduced, asks you, so did you see that? How do you know he's dead?
The maid upstairs. She ran at me, screaming that the Lord was killed. I'm looking for maybe a doctor, man of medicine, anyone.
You will see Enrique turn with you to the rest of everyone behind them. All of them just look dumbfounded. Like, I don't know. Like, that's not what
Well, then I'll appoint myself a man of medicine. And I'll get back up the stairs and I want to go take a look at the body.
Okay,
Before anyone tries to trample the place.
Fair enough. Enrique will follow you, and the two business associates that were with him, that Isolina and Sophia both noticed earlier, they seem to they exchanged glances with Enrique, and then they had different directions. One goes out the front, the other goes downstairs and toward the coat room.
My list of suspect is just getting longer and longer.
So people are funneling out. You overheard the speech, even though you couldn't see from where you were, but you did overhear the conversation. Shouldn't say speech. The conversation of Oberon and Enrique. And you would have seen one of Enrique's men go to the coat room, and it looks like he's actually working with some contraption that a few of you might recognize as a telephone. And the other one just goes out the front door. If you pay close attention, he seems to be counting carriages. He doesn't actually leave the front steps, but you can see him gesturing like he's counting carriages. Or something. You assume carriages. Makes the most sense. What do you do next?
Isolina, it looks like the party has moved upstairs.
Oh, it does appear to be that way.
I'm going to be honest, I'm slightly nosy and I want to know everything that's going on.
I would agree.
You can intercept the lady in the blue dress if you so wish as you make your exit. Or you can table that for later and head directly upstairs.
If we can do it at the same time, Lucrezia is going to try and make it look entirely accidental and possibly accidentally step on her dress.
I will 100% play along and like almost like pretend I'm pulling you along or like pushing you in a certain direction so that
Mhm.
it totally looks 100% accidental.
I am going to want a performance check from the two of you. This will be a basically combined check. So what that entails is that that's hearts. Performance is hearts. Whoever has the highest heart can play or will play the heart, and you will combine your scores for your base number.
Okay.
Okay.
So what are your performance levels?
Mine is average. My
Average.
charisma is higher, but
Okay. So your performance is then instead of a 4, it's an 8, which would be the equivalent of a great combined. Plus, whoever has the highest heart can play that card.
double checking for the rules. You can play a joker at any time, right?
Yes, you. In this case, you don't. You are not compelled. I'm sorry, not the highest. You play your lowest suited.
Lowest suit.
Yeah, sorry, lowest heart. I
Okay.
had that backwards. That's what you're compelled to do. Is you're so the Joker isn't in play for this.
Okay. Because I don't have any hearts.
Okay.
Okay, I do. I have
So-
a Queen of Hearts.
Okay. Then, and that's your lowest heart.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. That is. That's a combined 20, which is very good. I'm going to dump this same one because I drew it again, and it does not do more than give me 1 point. So tell me what you do, and I will buy every last drop of it.
She's gonna, as they're working their way up the door, she goes, just push me just a little bit. You got shoved into.
Absolutely. You
Right.
probably don't even have to finish saying it. You just look over at me and give me a look, and I'm like, oh, I got you. And I definitely
And
will be
she's-
like,
And she's gonna stumble forward and step on the hem of this very fine sky blue and lace dress and continue stumbling so that she rips the dress.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So many people. I'm so sorry.
Obviously, she'll be. Oh my! What?
Oh,
Are you okay?
Oh, are you, Isolina? Are you okay? I'm so sorry.
oh, I'm totally okay. Are you okay? You're the one that stumbled. I'm so sorry, miss.
No,
Come sit inside. We'll find someone who can help us fix that. That looks. Oh, we can't let that happen.
No. I don't want just someone. I will get it mended. But thank you.
I'm so sorry. I'm the Contessa Lucrezia Sofia Fioravanti. I'm
Nice to meet you, Contessa. I am Carolina Mirones.
Signorina Marrones.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my very dear friend, Signorina Isolina Montel.
Oh, nice to meet you. I've heard of your family, Selena. They are talented.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for saying so. It is nice to meet you, Miss Carolina. I've never seen you around before. Are you
Oh,
new to
I'm not
Barcelona?
from here. My family hails from Madrid.
Oh, Madrid. Is your family here also, or are you?
No, I came down for the party. I received an invitation, and here I am.
Oh, but it is so nice to have met you. This party is interesting, but I'm happy to have met you here.
If you don't mind, I think I need to be somewhere less conspicuous.
Oh, yes, no, of course. I saw a very nice dining room just over there on the left-hand side. I'm so sorry. It's just all these people and they were pushing. I'm so sorry.
It's not a problem. And she will make her way out and around the staircase and toward the dining room, which is on the side where the kitchen and everything is.
Is she holding like a, I guess, purse is it like a,
Ridicule?
yeah, anything like that? Or was she just...
You don't notice anything of the sort.
Question.
Would
Was
you
she
like to
wearing...
look closer?
Was she wearing her gloves?
Yes, she was wearing her gloves.
The Contessa would look closer at her.
Would you like to play a card then?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. 10 is very good.
14? Or, yeah. No, it's perception is good, so 16.
16. And is Isolina looking closer as well?
I mean, I can look closer. I just don't have a card to play with it.
Okay. You can also play any card for an extra point if you wish, or you can just play it with the 8. Either is fine.
Sure, I'll play one to use up a card.
Okay. I'll describe what you both see first, and then I will add in the bonus points from the 10. So you both notice that, yeah, she has no sort of bag of any sort. And just her dress. You'll notice that she does wear fine jewelry, bracelet, necklace. With the gloves on, she does have a couple rings, but she's wearing them under the gloves, which depends on the person, I guess. She definitely isn't showing them off, at least, or maybe she took off the gloves and forgot to rearrange things when she put them back on. You will notice that now that her dress is ripped and she's had to kind of pick it up to keep her slip or under garments from showing, that like her bustle and such, that she has very nice shoes and walks in them with a measure of grace that is above average on from first glance. Beyond that, the Contessa will notice that she is concealing a handful of things in different parts of her dress. You believe whatever would be held in a bag is instead tucked in some sort of secret pocket in her dress. And there is also something that she has tucked away in the bust line, and another something long and slender that was tucked away in the small of her back. It could be discounted as some of the bones of the corset if someone isn't paying extra attention, but it is not necessary for the construction of the corset, which is why it stands out to you.
Seeing that, she'd kind of nod her head to Risalina to go up the stairs.
Okay.
And once they're away from the main press of the crowd, she would mention to Isolina somebody found more useful place to put her makeup and powders than her bag. I really want to know the name of her seamstress.
It seems I would too. She also was wearing such a beautiful brooch earlier today. It's a shame she lost it somewhere.
Indeed. I really wonder if she managed, if that law, well, just from personal experience, holding a knife in the back of one's corset is always so uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. I wonder.
Almost as uncomfortable as what she put down her bust.
Oh, well, now I'm very interested to see what everyone is looking at up here.
No, all the fun things are up here.
And speaking of up there, you ascend the stairs to find Enrique and Oberon in the study, standing over what I will describe to you as a man slumped in an oversized chair at his desk. What kinds of skills would you like to assess him with, Oberon?
Oh boy. I would use my knowledge of natural sciences
Okay.
or I think I'll go with general education to try to determine how he was killed.
Okay. What is your level for your natural sciences? I know your education is great, correct?
Yeah, natural science is good.
Okay. In this case, would you like to also play a card?
Let me check.
Or are you wanting to just
No,
go with...
I'd actually play a card. I want to get, because I know that I'm not a man of medicine, but I want to see, if he's been poisoned. I mean, if he's been stabbed or something, it's going to be evident.
Yeah. There is no evidence of a stabbing or a
Okay.
gunshot wound. You can quickly assess those things as there is no pool of blood. So it makes you immediately wonder how the maid knew that he was murdered.
All right, I will. I'll just get rid of a card to just give myself a +1.
Okay. So as you're looking him over, I'm going to kind of overlap the two because they do overlap and give you a little bit of a bonus. You will notice signs of poisoning, cyanosis to be exact.
Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty severe. And you're not sure how it got into his system at first glance. You'd have to look him over, like actually handle the body in more of a coroner sort of way to see if it was ingested or injected, because there are no punctures that are readily visible without like manipulating his clothes and trying to see under them in some way.
And he is slumped, I figure, like face first onto his desk.
Actually, no, he's slumped backwards like this,
Okay.
just like he's just a
Resting.
puddle in his chair kind of thing. And his head's lulled to the side. The eyes are the first thing that give it away to you that he's poisoned.
Okay. I'll just look back at Enrique and say, poisoned. He's been poisoned.
Well, now that's most foul. But, I mean, most poisons take time, don't they?
I am not an expert in such things, I'm afraid. And I doubt my skills are going to be useful as a medical medical examiner.
Okay. As you are
Mouthful.
talking, he's gonna clearly listening, but he's gonna start actually looking at the body a little bit more. Like he'll turn the head to the side and he'll kind of like you catch him feeling for a pulse, even though you both clearly know he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like he had watched a doctor do things once, and he's mimicking the same things he would have seen that doctor do. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And it's about this time that Isolina and Sophia make their way to the study. You see a desk at the far side of the study from the door. It's not in a direct line of sight. It's kind of tucked away a little bit, so you have to step into the room to see it, mostly because of the way the door opens. You think that it gives more privacy that way. And you see Marcos de Salinas slumped in his chair, clearly not breathing. His skin looks oddly ashy. And there's Oberon and Enrique looking over the body.
Do I notice anything in the room that seems out of place?
The chair across, actually both chairs across the desk from him are pushed back, like people had been seated there and then they had gotten up and not returned the chairs to their particular place. That could have happened when the maid ran out of the room, because it is not a direct line from the back of the desk to the front door. She could have bumped into one of them, as the one that would have been most likely in the path is slightly askew. But the other one is also moved away as though someone was sitting there. However, you do know that he's been meeting with people all night. You saw him call back Bernard Smythe, but with the number of people that all of a sudden kind of showed up over time that you hadn't noticed previously, he may have been meeting with people prior to making his announcement that the party was on. But that's all speculation. The shelves are stocked with primarily trinkets, some books, but mostly just tchotchkes of different places. It's kind of like he couldn't help himself in an antique store everywhere he went, and he just bought something else to stick on his shelf. It's almost a trophy room in here.
I have a very important question, and unfortunately I'm going to have to use a term that, from a very useful language in this case, because you used the word tchotchke, I'm hoping you'll understand this difference. Are these tchotchkes schlock or kitsch?
Kitsch.
Okay. Thank you, Yiddish, for being the only language that has that distinction in it.
Yeah, these are kitsch.
Okay.
When you make that determination there, but they, well, I mean, you could look at them more to discern anything else, but they're definitely. I wouldn't say they're schlock.
Do I see anything like glasses or a decanter or a tumbler or something like that?
Yes, behind him there's a window directly behind him, and the windowsill is also like the top of a smaller, well, what would have been a bookcase, but instead it's a cabinet that's built in with the rest, and on it there are actually 3 decanters of varying fullness, and 2 glasses that are turned up as though they were used, and 2 glasses that are turned over as they haven't been used. As well as a bottle of champagne that's chilling but not opened.
She would work her way into the room and say, Enrique, you need to introduce me to your new friend. And she's working her way towards the decanters.
Okay. What's Isolina doing as Sophia sizes these things up and makes her way across the room?
I watch her look into the room, and just based off of our short interactions together, I think she's got this place covered. So I am going to, the moment I notice that it's not like a stabbing or anything like that, but rather very ashen sort of.
Yeah, there's no
poison.
blood. Yeah.
It's like, how else is he going to die? Probably poisoning. So I'm going to go try and find
It's fine.
this poor maid who found this body.
Okay. She's still in the lounge area at the top of the stairs that overlooks the drive, kind of sobbing into her hands, clearly shaken by finding a dead body. This is not something that's normal for her in any way, shape, or form. So
It's fair. I go up and I immediately I'm like, oh no, poor darling, and I go up to her and like I very much am comforting. I'm like, oh, what a horrible sight you saw.
yes, it's just I went in there to after the last guest left to retrieve the glasses. I just assumed that. Well, that's what he has me do after every guest leaves.
Oh, you poor
He was
darling. Poor darling. Who was he seeing?
I don't remember the. I think it was the English fellow, the rotund one.
Oh, and how? I'm so sorry. You had to have gotten so close to have noticed he was no longer alive.
His eyes.
And he was fine before then, before this Englishman.
Yes. I mean, when I checked on them before he went down to the ballroom to bring the Englishman back, I cleaned up and I brought fresh glasses and I returned back to the kitchen and he was fine. He was more than fine. He was his happy self, the same he's been since he returned to Barcelona.
Oh yes, I heard. And then he hired all of you back. Was right?
Yeah. What are we going to do now? It was so hard before. I mean, it's not like this is noble like what I'm sure you're used to, but it's better than just odd jobs or whatever you can find in the city. You have a place to stay. You always know you're fed.
Oh, you poor darling. I'm sure you'll find something. You seem very capable.
It's very kind of you to say. Thank you.
And so you have just been bringing him up the drink?
No, nothing to drink. Just fresh glasses, taking away the ones that were used and bringing him fresh ones between each meeting. He insists that everything be crisp and clean, like it's the first time he sat down.
Oh, very much a good gentleman. He was. Sorry.
Yes.
That is so sad. Let's go get you something to drink. Let's calm you down a little bit. You went through something very dramatic.
Okay. And then you're going to lead her downstairs then?
I'm going to lead her towards the kitchen where she got the glasses.
Okay. So as you lead her away, I'm going to head back into the study. And the Contessa and Enrique says, oh, Contessa Sophia, this is no place, no sight for a lady to have to gaze upon. I'm so sorry.
It's not the worst thing that anyone can see, but sometimes one just needs to know everything that's going on, Enrique. But you haven't introduced me to your friends.
Oh, right. This is... I'm sorry, sir, in all the commotion, I didn't catch your name.
That's quite all right. Lord Oberon Winters, at your service. The Contessa. And I'll hold her hand and kiss her fingers.
And she would take just a half second longer, just like holding your hand and just gauging you for a second before... So sorry. Contessa Lucrezia Sofia Fioravanti. But it was so sad for the poor man to come home only to pass in this manner. Pray for his soul.
Clearly someone had it for him. He's been.
Oh, I'm quite
quite-
sure many people had it in for him. He's a young man of note.
He's also. Enrique, would you mind doing me a favor? Oh, you're muted, Chris.
What's that? Sorry. Well,
Um,
Mhm.
Could you tell me if we're about 100 paces away from the West Wing? Or at least from the study in the West Wing? I just show him my cane. I'm like, I'm not really fit to measure distances.
Yes, I can do that. And he gives the Contessa a polite bow and makes his way to the door, and then turns back to you and says, "Did you mean from the desk or from the doorway?"
From the doorway will be fine.
Okay. And he will mark off his paces starting at the doorway.
Good. And while we're alone, I'll turn back to the Contessa and say, I think I've seen you with Iselina in the crowd earlier. I figure you are a resourceful individual.
That's one way to put it. I'm sure you noticed the glasses.
What glasses?
The ones over here. And she'll like link your through your arm and lead you over to the bar.
Oh. I'm the one in need of glasses.
You are focused, signore.
I don't think I'd like to drink anything.
No, but I do want to smell. And she's going to smell both of the upturned glasses and then all of the bottles.
Okay.
Because you said, just for my clarification, he looked ashen, correct?
Correct.
We're looking for
But
cyanide.
Yeah, but not blue?
Upon closer inspection, now that you've been closer to him, his skin does have a tinge of blue.
Would one possibly call this a light Prussian blue?
You could say that.
Yeah, so she's going to smell each of the glasses and the bottles, looking to see if she can smell that, oh, so distinctive scent of almond.
As you smell, you will very faintly, but ever so faintly, catch it on the glasses, both of them actually, but not from any of the bottles.
Well, I wouldn't want to touch the glasses, but the bottles are still fine. And it appears some poor sap is about to join our dear Lord Marcos.
Well, perhaps or perhaps not. It depends on, well, how resourceful that other poor sap was. I have a lead I want to make sure to follow, hence the 100 paces. Do you know Enrique Marquez, Contessa?
I've met him at a few events. He's entertaining enough.
Does he strike?
He also is...
No, go ahead.
He also is willing to talk and is a very discerning individual at times. Not quite as discerning as he thinks, but close.
So not the type of person to poison our host.
No, particularly not at the event he is attending. I can also say that he brought two gentlemen with him who are working downstairs to see if they can ascertain exactly who did what. And we should be expecting some more formal... Could I reasonably assume that based on the fact that one of Enrique's men was making a phone call that I could expect some more formal investigation comes shortly?
That is very perceptive of you, and that is perfect timing as Isolina descends the stairs to see carriages arriving. Two making some sort of motorized noise, and a series of people getting out of them and making their way into the building. You would have heard the sound. Definitely, Oberon would have heard the sound and recognized it because of his proclivities. And the Contessa would have also picked up on it because the technology, though efficient, is not the most quaint.
Well, looks like I'm not gonna have a whole lot of time. And I
Is there anything I can do to assist you?
buy me some time. And
Oh,
I'll
I can do that.
begin casting a spell.
Ooh, what spell are you going to cast?
Sense magic.
All right.
It's a cantrip, hence why I needed to know if we were 100 feet away from the globe. Because I want to make sure that if someone used magic to, let's say, inure themselves to poison or what have you, that it's sent, that I don't have any noise around from other rooms in the house.
Do you have the description pulled up and could read it for our audience?
Yes. Sense magic allows you to sense that magic has been used within an area of 100 feet within the last 24 hours. It lasts for a minute.
Okay.
And I don't know what the acronym TER means.
Okay.
Thematic energy.
Perception.
Huh?
TER stands for perception.
No,
so
T.
Oh, TER.
Yeah, TER. So I figure it's like thematic energy rating.
Might be, yeah. That makes sense.
Because the spell has a heart and then 8 TER.
Gotcha. Okay. No, that's the rating. So knowing that, what's your sorcery at?
My sorcery is at great.
At great. So you can get a partial success without playing any cards. Would you also like to play a card and push that success higher? Because 8 is your threshold. That's what the TER stands for.
Oh, okay. So, and I need to beat the threshold by how much to get something?
You would need to beat it by another 4 to get a full success and by another 8 to get a resounding success.
Well, then in that case, I'll just go and play king.
Okay. There's nothing that I can play to help obscure that. So, or to beat that and obscure things. So I am not going to even try. You do pick up that there is magic that emanates from those glasses, both of them, actually.
Oh.
You also notice that magic is connected from those glasses. They kind of trail down. There's this opalescent light that forms around them as you cast this cantrip, and they trail down from glasses and then merge, like one from each glass, and then merge partway down the cabinet into a single stream that then trickles its way along the floor and over to one of the 2 seats. It's actually the one that isn't askew, but is pushed back. And it kind of coalesces there and creates a silhouette just for the briefest of moments before it, poof, dissipates. You can ask me 2 questions about the silhouette, and I will, you can ask me, can I tell the gender? And I can give you the sex or gender.
That would have been my first question. Is the silhouette more masculine or feminine?
The silhouette is more masculine. And then what else would you like to know?
So it trails to the seat, and then I saw that silhouette. It's so in my mind the picture is this like gaseous form. There's no real details on it. Am I right to assume that, or is it
Correct. Think of it like this opalescent cloud. So it shimmers with the rainbow of colors. You can catch some like facial features if you were to focus on that for your question. You could possibly catch a little bit more defined body type rather than just simply is it more masculine or feminine or somewhere in between. Instead, it might be, you might be able to define like the
is the figure rotund?
Is the figure what?
Rotund.
Rotund. Yeah, portly.
Sorry.
No, it is actually fairly lithe. Broad-shouldered, which is what made you feel like it was more masculine.
Okay. Thank you.
Out of curiosity, are you the only person who sees this?
Am I?
Yeah, like when the magic happens.
What's your sorcery at?
Me is average.
You would notice, you wouldn't be able to see what was going on. You would notice what he's doing, and you would feel energy in the air. And you would know that he's casting a spell and that this is magic. But you wouldn't be able to actually see all of the details that he's catching.
Okay. Oh, that's entertaining.
Magic was used.
Because it was a king, I will also let you know that you ping on multiple things on the shelves as having some level of magic that is latent within them, but you can't pick up anything more, and it blinks out before you have a chance to identify which ones. Because they aren't actively made, it's just kind of like this. When it's in your periphery, you know it's there. But as soon as you try and focus on it, it's not, because it's not actively being used, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so there's one of them in the cabinet is magical, but we don't know which one because it's just inert in a way.
Yeah, it's latent. It's hiding there under the surface. And because it's not actively being used, it doesn't fully get triggered. But with how much you made that success by, you get that feeling.
Ooh, does it look like he's missing one of those trinkets?
You will, the Contessa will notice this as he turns toward the shelves. He's scanning them for something. Would you like to help him scan the shelves for whatever he's looking for?
Oh, I would love to help him scan the shelves. Is there a particular thing you were looking for, Signore? Perhaps I could help you.
I'm searching for if he's missing something, if it was a robbery gone wrong, if it was on purpose. He's been maybe perhaps assassinated for something he owned and not for who he was.
Signore, we know it wasn't a robbery gone wrong. Poison's not a robbery gone wrong.
I'm going through all the potential leads in my mind. I'm sorry. I must be rambling.
Oh no, it's not a problem. But let me see if I can help you determine if anything is missing.
Uh-huh.
So to do that, we play the lowest.
The lowest diamond between the two of you, but you get to combine your skills. So you'd have a base 10 now.
Okay.
Do you have a diamond?
I do.
I have one as well. I have a jack of diamond.
That's the lowest.
Wow. All right then.
So
jack of diamond it is.
So that makes a 21. You will notice 3 odd things about the room with that. One is that there is something missing from one of the shelves. You can tell as you search around, you can tell by the void. This room is kept immaculately clean, but there are wear patterns that even things just gently setting on polished wood will leave. It's something you would have to look for and know to look for, but it's there. It's not like a dust void, which most people could find if they were looking for it. But it's there. It was round. Whatever the base of it that sat there was round, as in a circle, not as in a globe. So its base was a round base. You will also notice that some of the books that are there are askew, like something is missing, like one volume was pulled from it. It seems to be one in a series, but they are not a numbered series. It's just all of the same book. They all have the exact same binding, and they're all blank. It's a black binding. They're all blank. If you pull out one of the other ones, they seem to be ledgers. So there's a missing ledger for sure. There's something that had a round base on one of the shelves that was missing. And then the third thing that you notice, and this is probably the strangest thing that you notice, is his body position looks wrong.
Like he was moved after the fact?
Like he was moved after the fact. As soon as you start moving around the room and seeing everything from different angles, all of a sudden, the way his legs are crossed, you can't imagine that he would cross his legs like that at the angle that the chair is sitting as he's facing the desk, because it would basically shove his shin into one of the sides of the desk every time that he turned. And it's not a swiveling chair. This is just an overstuffed four-legged chair. So it just seems wrong, which makes you think that he could have been moved after the fact and placed in that chair.
His silhouette doesn't match the silhouette of the broad-shouldered gentleman.
No.
Does it? Okay.
He is... you would say that they're about equally broad-shouldered. He's not the largest person, but he did serve in the military. From the silhouette, though, he was much thicker throughout. And we're talking muscular thick, not portly thick. So he was he's larger. That was a more slightly built, maybe younger, but definitely not... definitely not the same. So it wasn't like he was in that chair and then got moved across the table or across the desk. Good thought, though. Excellent thought. Then I'm going to move to Isolina while you two ponder. And Isolina, you're walking the maid down the stairs. You will notice at the bottom of the stairs that the two gentlemen, the one that went out the front door and the one that was on the phone, are now talking to each and every one of the guests that are now in the foyer. It's a very large, well, it's more of a hall because it's large. And they're talking to them and they're taking notes. And as they do, you hear the motorized sounds pull up and you see 6 more people get out of the two vehicles. And they come up through the door and they're all in similar suits as the two business associates of Enrique, as well. And then after they do, 2 other figures are making their way toward the front door after those 6 kind of trickle in. Sort of like if this was a fancy gala and somebody of high rank were to be introduced, the 4 bearers would come in and announce them, and there would be like kind of like a standing line that they would then walk through to make them look all fancy and lordly and such. A similar pattern, except this is, well, these people are definitely some level of law enforcement. You recognize that now about their stance, and you're a little perturbed that you didn't make that connection earlier. Like, come on, you've seen that before. Now that you see all 8 of them in this same sort of way and that the context has changed, they are part of the Barcelona investigation unit. And they're all detectives of some rank. And in walking, after those 6 make their entrance, is one person that you recognize straight away, and that is Lord Ferdinand Marquez. And the person next to him is a very charismatic fellow that you all will get to meet next week. As that ends session 1 of Adventures in Castle Falkenstein. I'm your host, Chris Geary, and I want to thank you all for coming. And as we go to exit, we would like to say our goodbyes to each of our characters and their players. And we will start in reverse order. So we will start with the lovely Contessa Sophia, played by Deirdre Donlan. In reverse order.
Hello, all. You know me. I'm at Deirdre Donlan on Twitter, or Praxagora Thesmia4, as you see me hang out in the Twitch chat. And I had the ball. I love the Contessa. She's going to be fun. I'm going to have so much fun with this. Also, I love the whole Rosolian Isles that Isolina and Lucrezia have, because that will be great.
All right. Where can we find you?
You can find me online on Twitter at Deirdre Donlan. You can where I post everything. But first and foremost, tomorrow I will be back here as I am in the driver's seat running some Fanfolk Mad with the season premiere of Go West. So Pulp Cthulhu campaign that I run. And then I'll be back on and then Monday. Can we talk about Monday? Can we talk about Monday? Monday I'll be over on Role Players Twitch channel for some Age of Arcana as Simon's doing some fun stuff, and I can't wait for that. That'll be so much fun. Back here on Tuesday for Dark Matter. Wednesday I'm over on Other Doc's channel for some Robot Hamlet versus Robot Richard III. Yeah, I'm just going to tell you all that Sithphilis is a real thing. Apparently the dark side is an STD.
All righty. And on that note, we're going to go to your lovely investigative partner, Isolina, and played by PB. PB, can you tell us about your evening and how Isolina's doing and where we can find you?
Oh, Isolina cannot wait. More people come in. It's just like more people to find out more about. Just very excited about everything, because nothing brings out the worst and most scared about people and the best details when things are just all in disarray. When people, when people are worried, that's when great things come out of their mouths. So Isolina is excited. I mean, she didn't die tonight, so she's perfectly fine. I'm PB from PB Plays Inside. You can find me over on Twitter, Twitch, as PB Plays Inside. I have one more game of Numenera over on Pro Restarter's channel over on Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, then 9-ish, depending on the day. And that's going to be our finale. Find out what happened to poor Julian's character. Because, hashtag cannibalism. And on, and yeah, that's it. The rest of my games are over with now. So that's our last game on Monday over on Pro Restarter's channel. And then Friday's here. And I, myself, am working on a project for a Pride Festival bundle that I'm putting out. I ask a bunch of questions on Twitter about supplements and like GM tools that one might like for different systems over on Twitter. So make sure to follow me there so you can answer those polls and give me a little bit of insight as to what you would want from things. But yeah, that is me.
Excellent. And then on to Oberon Winters and his experience, played by Simon. Tell me about that, Simon.
Oh, hi. I had a lovely time tonight. I am curious as to both where the game is going and what is happening, but also to explore the system of Castle Falkenstein a bit more. I was already in love with character creation before. For those who don't know, your character sheet is basically a diary entry, and I like that idea And I want to see more of the game itself, the mechanics, and also just the general theme, atmosphere, vibe, whatever you want to call it, of what Castle Falkenstein is. This is my channel. You know who I am. You're here. You're watching it, or you're watching it on YouTube. Yeah, we have shows like Deirdre said, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays. Or you can catch me on Sundays on Chat or Die playing. I'm mostly playing for now games, but yeah, you can find me. You can find the schedule. Sorry, in my pin tweet on my Twitter. At wandering_DM. By the way, our socials were displayed on the overlay throughout the evening, and we will catch you again next week. Before we leave, let's go raid my good friend Jess, Little Cup of Joe. She's streaming right now. I think she's doing an art stream. So if you want to just spread the love, go say hi to Jess, and we'll see you next week. Ciao, everyone.